Well, tonight, as sky-high housing prices and pandemic aftershocks force more Floridians into homelessness, the Contact 5 investigation team discovered an alarming reality playing out for thousands of homeless parents and their children. They don't qualify for federal help. Contact 5 investigator Katie LaGrone explains why and how a years-long battle to change a definition continues to fail.
As a parent, are you comfortable having your kids live on the streets or in a shelter?
No.
We met Marquita Ingram in the courtyard of this Tampa hotel, her home since October 1st.
Did you think you were going to be here this long?
No, not at all.
What did you think?
Maybe 1 to 2 months max.
Ingram says she found herself homeless for the first time after falling victim to a housing scam when she moved to Florida from North Carolina last year. And now, with housing prices so high, this one-bedroom hotel room is all she can afford for herself and her 3 young children.
Has this been a tough time for you?
Very. You expect it to be strong, to be able to still take care of your children.
But while this mom and her kids may be considered homeless by school districts, counties, and the U.S. Department of Education, they don't qualify for the federal dollars that would take them out of this hotel and into a permanent home.
Yeah, it's some words I just don't want to say right now. Yeah.
Turns out the federal government agency created to help end homelessness, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, defines homelessness differently, as primarily living in a shelter or out on the streets, which means those living in a hotel with someone or couch surfing aren't literally homeless by HUD standards.
So this boils down to a definition.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a nationwide problem advocates say impacts children and families most, because most students identified as homeless by their schools live in some kind of shared housing.
Any parent will tell you they would rather stay with a friend or a relative, even if it's a tenuous situation. They would choose that as opposed to living on the side of the road or in the woods or even in a shelter.
Laura Tucker is a school social worker and homeless liaison for Hillsborough County Schools.
The injustice of that was very shocking. It didn't make any sense to me. It still doesn't.
Of the more than 13,000 students identified in Hillsborough as homeless over the past 3 years, more than half were living in some kind of shared housing at the time. State data shows the same trend for students in every Florida county.
It's a flawed system.
And one advocates have been trying years to change.
We're here today to dive a little deeper into the definition of homelessness.
This is U.S. congressional testimony from back in 2018, after a bill was filed to broaden HUD's definition of homelessness.
This expansion could add millions of people to already strained waiting lists.
The bill ultimately stalled, critics pointing to a lack of money, resources, and concern over what the agency deems priority. HUD considers those in shelters and on the streets more of a priority than families who couch surf.
Even though there may be a roof over somebody's head, it doesn't mean that they're safe or stable.
Barbara Duffield of Schoolhouse Connection is a national advocate and was among those who appeared before Congress to make the case for a definition change.
I've worked at the intersection of homelessness and education for nearly 25 years.
It has to change. If it doesn't change, then we're going to see adult homelessness, the kind of homelessness that most people are familiar with. That is only going to grow.
With the numbers of homelessness on the rise, so too, advocates say, should the urgency to finally change the definition of homeless before more families become homeless and find themselves seeking help HUD won't give them.
What would you tell lawmakers?
Think about the mental and emotional health of the families. Makes me feel like I failed my kids, in a sense. Even though I know I couldn't control it, but I feel that way sometimes.
HUD maintains it is working to ensure every American has a safe, stable place to call home, and says they have a number of programs that prioritize family and children. You can read their full statement on our website. Meantime, a new bipartisan bill has been introduced in both the U.S. House and Senate. All this while some Florida school districts anticipate school homelessness to break records. Katie LaGrone, back to you.